Welcome to Rod's Garage. So the weather's let up a little bit today. Still got clouds in the sky, but it's supposed to rain like the dickens in the middle of this week. So I'm going to try to take advantage of the few days where I don't have rain. I'll have wind, but that's okay. It's going to blow all the buffing stuff around. So look at what I'm going to be doing today. So first of all, I got the machine out, got the buffing wheel out, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then in this big black box here, 2 slides. So mostly slides today to get done, and some fine-tune polishing on a couple of the bells to get them ready for sale. Because it's been relatively dry this month. I've had to work on stuff to get ready to sell, and I'm going to be dropping in the next week or two probably as many as 10 horns onto my reverb store. So stay tuned, watch for what's coming up. A lot of these are very nice quality student horns. I got a couple Olds Ambassadors. I've got a Con 18 Coprion. I've got a I think a 16H I'm working on. I'm working on a KT series Getson. I'm working on what else? Oh, I've got a vintage Reynolds Professional. Yeah, vintage Reynolds Professional. And what do I have in here? This is a 77H. You know, it's funny because I think Con screwed the pooch on the 77H. They marketed it as a professionalized student horn, and their student horn is the director line. It wasn't 77H. 77H is a 500 bore trombone like the 6H. It's basically built mostly with 6H parts, except with a 7.5-inch bell and no nickel crook. Everything else pretty much looks the same to me. Now, if any of you out there who are con aficionados know anything different about the build on this horn, like is the construction of the bell on the 77 different than it is on the 6H, let me know. I'll put it up here where I'm, talking to people about what I got. So the 77H is actually great because when you reduce the bell size, it removes some of the ring from the end of the horn and gives it a more less ringy but a little more direct sound, and it's just enough. It's just enough to give it a nice centered tone, but it doesn't make it like a bazooka like you would get on the 44H vocal bell. That one's pretty dang directed. Or a lot of the olds, because it was style back then not to have too much ring in the bell. And then the bebop era came along and people started liking more ring, and the bells got to be about 8 inches and the bore around 500 plus. And so I think the larger bell was more suited to the soloists, where the smaller bell was maybe suited a little bit more towards ensemble, because it could push the sound forward a little better, with a less ringy bell. But that's just my observation. Don't take my word as gospel on that. There's a lot of pros out there who know better than I do. But that's kind of what I've discovered through my research. Anyway, so this is probably going to end up being a short. It's only about 3.5 minutes or so. And stay tuned. I'll give you a video or a follow-up on this one for the progress I'm making today. Okay, so it's the evening now after I got done buffing about nine pieces, because it was a mixture of bell sections and slides. Slides needed to be done because I had done the bell sections already. But let me take you through some of what I got done today, and what will be going up for sale very soon. I will be putting the videos together first, getting them up on YouTube, applying the YouTube channels to my reverb ads, and then I will take the videos and I will individually put them up on through Facebook on the various marketplaces to let you know that they're all for sale. Now, again, I'm gonna remind everybody that you may look at these and go, how could he charge that much money? I'm not charging a lot of money for what these are. Several of them are student horns. And I want to keep in mind, if you were to buy a student horn off an auction site and you got it and the lacquer was bad and the slide needed work and there's dents all over the place, what do you think you would pay to have all that done? And I can tell you for certain it would be well over $200. So in addition to the horn, And the work, maybe $300. If it's refinishing, it'll be in the realm of anywhere between $400 and $600. So my pricing does not reflect all of the work that goes into these horns. And some of them I won't be lacquering because, frankly, they just sound a lot better without the lacquer. A lot of the older horns had lacquer, to protect the horn, but they were putting the nitrocellulose lacquer on it pretty heavily back then, and it was deadening the sound and killing the response. Well, horns today, buyers today are looking for responsive horns. That's why they're going for, a BAC, and why they're going for Wrath, and why they're going for Shires, and why the Pro horns are always lightweight and super responsive. So by not lacquering these horns and just putting a ceramic coating on them and then putting a museum grade wax over that, and then maybe another ceramic coating over that, I'm protecting and sealing the brass, but it's leaving much of the response intact. So, and I'm going to talk about this too. If you put your slide, if any moisture sets on that horn for any length of time, it'll eat through that protection, and it'll cause your brass to rust. And you don't want to do that. So especially if you put your slide in your case, and it's one of those where the slide goes on the top of the case, and the open tubes are over the bell. You want to put something inside those tubes and cover your bell. So if moisture does leak out, which it generally does, because people don't clean the moisture out of the inner tubes of your trombones. You may clean or dry the outer tubes with your cleaning rod or your snake, but you don't, and you wipe off your slide, but you don't clean the moisture out of the inner tube, and that's where some of the moisture is left over. And there's always residual moisture. So either put little pieces of tissue paper inside of the tubes when you put it away, and some piece of cloth over, like a towel, short little hand towel over your bell, just to make sure that doesn't get on the bell and start dripping and degrading the surface of the brass. Anyway, continuing on. Okay, I'm going to pause these one at a time, and then I'm going to show you each horn I worked on today. Okay, so the first one up, you probably saw in a previous video, if you're subscribed to my channel and you watch things, that I brought in a Getzen, a KT series Getzen that needed repair. And there was, the lacquer was bad and it was old. I haven't exactly dated this Getzen. You know what, let me look. I think I've got the list on my phone. Okay, so the serial number on this Getzen dates it at 1950, so it's a KT series. And here, take a look. Here it is, all freshly buffed. I need to remove this little dent right here, so I'm going to take that out. But yeah, take a look at that. Look at those nickel sleeves. That looks fantastic. And these are a great help for responsiveness, and so is the counterweight tuning note protector up here. A tuning slide protector. So all that adds to the counterweight. And sometimes I'll put a custom counterweight right here that you can buy through Thoman Music out in the UK. But no, this looks pretty good. So once I get this one done, and I already have a couple of these, and I play them jazz band. They're wonderful horns. Getzen didn't make, when Getzen made a trombone, it wasn't a student model. It was a pro model, because their student line was called Elkhorn. So none of the Getzens made in that time were considered student models. These were considered the professional models. I don't know that they had intermediate models. I don't think they were thinking that at that time, because Getzen only went into production around 1948. And they had, a slide with the little screw at the top, and that was kind of weird. But they had their Getzen Super Deluxe, which had the copper crayons that went around the bell and copper fittings. Well, this is after that model, where they started to streamline it a little bit, and this is nickel and yellow brass. Now the slide, I haven't done anything with the slide. I've left the original lacquer on it. You can see it's kind of a sort of an amber color. Nope, you can see the little Getzen. You can't put a rubber bumper on that. That's just the way they did it. I like the rubber bumpers, and of course you can see the Getzen braces. But the slide works really nicely. I may just leave the slide original, and then a lot of the nickel that was just lightly plated on here has come off, but I polished it down pretty good. This I'll probably spray with some lacquer just to seal it up. But yeah, it looks pretty good. So yeah, this is the Getzen. What does it have a number on it? I think they just called it Getzen. Later they called it the Getzen 300. But this 7.5-inch bell, which is You know, great. They weren't really into the 8-inch bells yet. The 7.5s were nice. They had a nice direct focused sound to it. And then this is a relatively lightweight bell here. Let me put this over here. Okay, so it's hard to hear the ring because I'm holding it. So let me try this again. There we go. So yeah, that's relatively lightweight for the day. You know, some of the cons had a much denser, heavier bell. But no, that bell's really responsive. Without the lacquer on it, it's great.